We're live, pals. Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for May the 29th, 2020. And let's just say this was quite the interesting Smackdown this week. It was not a boring show by any means. Shout out to the chat room. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to everybody that continues to support NoDQ.com. Head over to NoDQ.com/merch to pick up some NoDQ gear. Show your support. Let's go ahead and get started with the recap. We kicked off SmackDown outside the Performance Center at the scene of a crime. Elias was down on the ground. There was an ambulance and a car by Elias. There were police there. Renee Young was talking to the officers. One of the officers found a piece of paper that revealed it was Jeff Hardy's rental car. Braun Strowman was interviewed. He was an eyewitness. He was the one that called 911, and he was just hoping that the person that did this to Elias would be held accountable for his actions. Police officers then found Jeff Hardy over by some house in the bushes. They had determined that he had the smell of alcohol on him, so they took Hardy over to the police car. Hardy saw Elias being loaded up into the ambulance and was very upset about this, but the officers would not let Hardy get anywhere near Elias. Hardy was put into the police car. We had a cameo from Jason Jordan and Jamie Noble, by the way. And they were talking about how Jeff appears to be inebriated. This was our opening segment of SmackDown. Very different opening from what we're used to. WWE taking this real life issue with Jeff Hardy, the DUI arrests, and making it part of a storyline. Now, of course, watching this, my first thought was it's probably just going to be a setup. Somebody set Jeff Hardy up to make it look like he did a hit and run to Elias. I also thought about storylines with Scott Hall and Hawk and how those storylines never did anything for Scott Hall or Hawk. Hopefully WWE learned from those storylines if they're trying to blend in real life with fiction. Certainly a very polarizing storyline, that's for sure. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat, first one of the evening, says, "Is this as offensive as Hawk acting drunk on Raw?" I'm going to say no, at least at this time, if it's revealed that Sheamus or somebody else set up Jeff Hardy, then it's not nearly as bad as Hawk or Scott Hall, because with Hawk, there really wasn't a resolution to the storyline. It took place over the course of several months. Hawk going up on the Titantron, and there was one segment where Hawk came out and said that Droz was dealing him drugs or something like that. But there was really no follow-up to that, and the storyline just kind of fizzled out, and it pretty much ruined Hawk and Animal as far as having any shred of credibility left in WWE. At Scott Hall, there really wasn't a happy ending to the storyline. With this Jeff Hardy one, I mean, to me, it's pretty clear he was set up. But yeah, a lot of people upset about the storyline. It got people talking, though, so if that's what WWE's hoping, that this will create some buzz and get people tuning in again, it certainly was an interesting open to the show. I will say that. Then after the first commercial break, we had Adam Pearce, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, who's one of the guys working behind the scenes in WWE. He was backstage with the talent. He said that they got an update from the hospital. Elias's injuries are not life-threatening. However, Elias will not be able to compete. Jeff Hardy will obviously not be competing. It was revealed that Hardy was arrested by police. Sheamus chimed in and said that this was not a big shocker. What is this? Jeff Hardy's 5th or 6th strike with the company. Josh Mansfield with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Josh. He says, I thought it was Baron Corbin at first, but it kept me guessing till the end of the show. There is more to it, and I will talk about that here in a few minutes. Thank you for that again, Josh. Ked Terminated by Google with a $3 super chat says, Mansfield, maybe it was Maggie Simpson. Of course, that's a reference to Who Shot Mr. Burns. Who was responsible for setting up Jeff Hardy? That's the question. So anyways, in this backstage segment, Adam Pearce was trying to figure out what to do with the Intercontinental title tournament. AJ was like, hey, it should just be Daniel Bryan versus him. They should go straight to the finals, both of them getting buys. That's what the people want anyways. Bryan wanted to do it the right way. Bryan wanted them to have new opponents. Sheamus, of course, agreed with this, wanted another opportunity, and said that junkie Jeff Hardy got lucky. So Sheamus ended up challenging Daniel Bryan to a match, but then King Corbin, Jey Uso, and all these other people wanted an opportunity. So what Adam Pearce decided to do was make a battle royal. Winner gets to face Daniel Bryan in the semifinal. And since AJ wanted a bye, AJ got his bye. He gets the cheap way out, but everybody else will earn their opportunity. Darren Frazier with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you very much for that, Darren. I appreciate it. He says, do you think that they could have had Jeff face different people that were at them of the crime, like Elias, Strowman, and Sheamus could lead the hacker being the one to set Jeff Hardy up? I mean, we'll have to see what happens next week. There was a cliffhanger. Without me jumping ahead too much, there was a cliffhanger at the end of SmackDown, so I'll get to that in a few minutes. Thank you again for the super chat. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says, Ken, maybe it was you? Maybe it was Riff Aronson. Who knows? Anything's possible, right, guys? Virtue is like, ha ha, swerve. Maybe there will be a swerve. We had our first match, which was the Battle Royal, to determine who would face Daniel Bryan in the main event. Drew Gulak was back, by the way. He has signed a new deal with WWE. He's back in the fold. Although if you do not follow internet wrestling sites, you would have no idea that Gulak's contract expired and he signed a new deal. Michael Cole brought up how WWE is fortunate enough to have an audience. They've all been tested and they're doing social distancing, which I found to be quite funny. Michael Cole talking about the PC guys practicing social distancing while you have a battle royal going on, and also coming off of Raw, where all the PC guys just got in the ring and forgot about the social distancing. So whatever. Corbin eliminated Gulak, who had a decent showing in this match. I was almost thinking he would win since he signed a new deal, but nope. He got eliminated. Jey Uso, of all people, eliminated Corbin. Shorty G, who we haven't seen on television in some time, eliminated Cesaro. And then he also eliminated Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura tried to get back at Shorty G and the referees were distracted. While this was happening, Cesaro dumped Shorty G over the top rope. Referees turn around. and they just saw him there, so they presumed he was eliminated. I found this to be a little bit silly, but whatever. Usually the referees have to see it for it to count, but whatever. Back in the ring, it was down to Jey Uso and Sheamus as the last two. They fought on the apron, and then Sheamus hit a bro kick to eliminate Jey and advance to the main event against Daniel Bryan, the rematch from WrestleMania 28. We had a backstage promo from Sonya Deville saying that she's going to beat that bleach blonde Lacey Evans just like she beat the bleach blonde Mandy Rose on last week's show. Lacey snuck up behind her and shoved her down. We had another backstage segment with Chad Gable arguing with the referees about having his opportunity stolen. Cesaro said that somebody as short as Shorty G cannot be a champion. So Shorty responded by punching Cesaro in the face, and we had a match set up for later on the show. We had Sonya Deville versus Lacey Evans, which ended in a double countout. The two of them fought on the outside after the match. Sonya Deville was sent into the announce desk ribs first, and then she got on the headset and said she'll face Blondie one more time, but it will be on her terms. So will we get a pay-per-view match, or will they just fight on SmackDown next week? That remains to be seen. We had a promo for the Forgotten Sons, but I forgot what they said. And then we had the New Day come out for a moment of bliss with the SmackDown Women's Tag Team Champions. So we had the men's and women's tag team champions in the same segment together. Nikki Cross got some Scottish pancakes for the New Day, and the New Day got some coffee beans for Alexa, which were from Djibouti, which apparently is a real place according to Big E. Bayley and Sasha Banks came out. They were tired of all this gift giving back and forth. Bayley told the PC crowd to shut up. Alexa then teased Sasha for being the only person in the ring without a championship. And this led to Bayley volunteering Sasha for a match against Alexa Bliss. We had this match, and Alexa and Bayley were on commentary. They were very entertaining during this match. You had Nikki starting up Lexi chants, and Bayley was very upset by this, and she started chanting for Sasha. It was going back and forth. Bayley was threatening Michael Cole, and Nikki was very defensive of Cole, giving a stern warning to Bayley to stay away. And then Bayley tried to interfere in the match. She got on the apron. Nikki got on the apron, but then got shoved into Alexa. Sasha used that opportunity with a roll through to pin Alexa Bliss. However, there is good news for the baby faces. They will get an opportunity at Bayley and Sasha Banks. There will be a tag team titles match on next week's SmackDown. So there you go. We had Cesaro with Shin against Shorty G. Shorty G kept kicking out of everything Cesaro gave to him. A powerbomb kick out, several near fall attempts by Cesaro. G kept kicking out, and then Cesaro went for another powerbomb attempt, but with a counter, Shorty G was able to pin Cesaro. I feel bad for poor Cesaro. I mean, that guy had such a good run. And look at this. The legendary Mike B with a $50 super chat. Thank you so much for this, Mike B. I really appreciate it very much. He says, here's for the no DQ power couple, Aaron and Caitlyn, to go on a nice date night together. Also, for No DQ, undoubtedly being the absolute best. I appreciate it, and I'm sure Caitlin appreciates it as well. The date night might be a little bit tricky with the quarantine. Keep in mind, we're in Michigan, and Michigan is one of the states that is still being very careful about opening things back up. So we might have to do a rain check on that, but the next date night we're able to do out in the town, we will keep you in mind. Thank you again, Mike B. And Josh Mansfield with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Josh. I appreciate it. Says, the tag team title match ends in a DQ, leads to a triple threat tag team title match with the Iconics at Backlash with Sasha finally turning. Yeah, that's a possibility, although I would not be surprised if we see Sasha and Bayley win back the tag team titles for a little bit. Just like when Shawn Michaels and Diesel won the tag team titles shortly before their breakup. Remember that? I could see a similar storyline where Sasha and Bayley actually win the tag team titles and then break up while they're still the tag team champions. Ken terminated by Google with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Ken. Says, Mike B is the guy who lost his job and I'm speechless. Mike B is just a really awesome guy, and I really do appreciate you guys with your support. And make sure you guys tune in to No DQ&A video tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I have a fun announcement for you guys regarding the No DQ&A videos, so stay tuned for that. You got to tune into the live premiere for the update. Got 2 episodes in No DQ&A video, by the way, coming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Stay tuned for that. And then Tuesday, we got NXT TakeOver predictions live stream. A lot of content coming up for you guys this week. We had Otis and Mandy Rose at the pool for some fun in the sun. Otis popped a bottle of champagne. He wanted to go jump in the pool, but Mandy was very comfortable. She was feeling a little bit sleepy. She wanted to take a nap. You got to be careful, Mandy. You do not want to fall asleep. I've heard horror stories about people getting terrible sunburns because they fell asleep out at the pool. Mandy did fall asleep, and she had this very erotic fantasy where Otis was walking around, there was water sprinkling down, and he ripped off his shirt, and the two of them started making out. But then she woke up, and Otis was being his usual goofball self. He did a cannonball, and he got Mandy wet. But it was not in the way she would want to be wet. She got splashed with this cannonball, and she forgave Otis for this. She forgave him for his shenanigans. She got into the pool. She tried to have some romantic interaction with him. They started kissing. I wonder if this will be the beginning of their breakup. Like, Otis is just too much of a goofball and not romantic enough. I wonder where this is going, if this is setting up a breakup with them. Kind of a goofy segment, but it was fun. I like this stuff with Mandy and Otis, so even if it's cheesy, it's still fun to watch. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Jackson Riker has the charisma of a McDonald's toilet. I'm not going to disagree with that one. I mean, I'll give the guys a chance, but yeah, I really don't even remember what they said other than they've been forgotten about and they're gonna show everybody what they're all about. I don't know. It's just some generic crap. We had Kurt Angle in a pre-taped promo. He was wearing a SmackDown shirt, and he brought up how there's a new person coming to SmackDown. This person he got to see up close and personal on NXT in the cage fight. This person, of course, was Matt Riddle, which was reported on by Dave Meltzer. I'm sure Virtue is thrilled that Dave Meltzer broke a news story. But yes, Matt Riddle is officially heading to SmackDown. And there was a video package for him. I liked it. Nice little video package to introduce the casuals. However many casuals there are left. I mean, there are some because you got 2 million people watching SmackDown and only 600,000 to 700,000 watching NXT. So there are some casual fans that are not watching NXT that might not be familiar with Matt Riddle. It was a good video package. I liked it. Bro. And then we had our main event match, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan. Before the match, Sheamus cut a promo, talked about how he's going to enjoy kicking Daniel Bryan's face off with a bro kick. Talked about how he never won the IC title, and he's not going to let a rat stand in his way of becoming a Grand Slam champion. Daniel Bryan then appeared and kicked kicked Sheamus in the shin. And Sheamus was like, "You little bastard." We had the match here between Bryan and Sheamus. Sheamus dominated much of the match. He mocked the yes chants and even had Michael Cole do the yes chants, forced him to do the yes chants to cheer Bryan back on. Sheamus went for the bro kick, but then Jeff Hardy's music hit. Jeff Hardy ran out. I guess he was released from police custody. I guess maybe they found new evidence that Jeff was in fact not drunk. They did the, I think they said in the beginning segment they wanted to do some tests on him. So I guess Jeff did pass the tests. They get that information awfully quick, don't they? But yeah, Jeff Hardy came out there and Sheamus got distracted. This time, one of the good distractions where the heel gets distracted and not the other way around. Daniel Bryan hit the running knee and pinned Sheamus. After the match, Jeff Hardy continued to beat down Sheamus, and Sheamus retreated. The announcers brought up how I guess next week we're going to find out what's the deal, what happened with Jeff Hardy. Perhaps next week we'll find out that Jeff was set up. Will it be Sheamus? Will there be a swerve? Was it the hacker? We'll all have to tune in next week to find out. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, "Imagine Vince Russo as Matt Riddle's manager / bro." Bro, I like it personally. I would mark out for Vince Russo on SmackDown, but I think it's highly unlikely in all likelihood. SmackDown thoughts. It was interesting. And I've said this before. I would prefer an entertaining show over a boring show. Was it offensive? Perhaps, but this is one of those times where I feel like we need to see how it plays out. Obviously, if Jeff Hardy was set up, it's not quite as bad as Scott Hall, who actually showed up on Nitro drunk in the storyline. And same thing with Hawk. In the storyline, he actually showed up drunk. With Jeff, if he's clearly being set up and he never did get drunk, never did hit anybody, but the angle was very over the top. I mean, if it was a setup, then somebody would be charged with attempted vehicular homicide, right? But it's pro wrestling. I mean, Steve Austin got hit with a car and nobody went to jail over it. So I'm sure Jeff Hardy will say, or Elias will say, we're not going to press charges. We want a wrestling match to settle this. So it's wrestling. It is what it is. It was entertaining. I was intrigued for the first time in a long time from start to finish with what was going on during SmackDown. I mean, first time in a long time where I can say, like, throughout the whole show, I was curious to see what was going to happen. And we really haven't had something like that in a while, where there was like this big, crazy storyline and it was a show-long storyline. It kept you wondering. So I'm really curious to see what kind of numbers they do for this and what kind of numbers they do for next week. The legendary Mike B with a $2 super chat. By the way, guys, throw me your letter grade for SmackDown. And Mike B says with $2, I meant to put together, not tonight, damn typos. That's what I assume, Mike B, and not a problem, my friend. Noah Foster gives the show a B. And Darren Frazier with a B+. Calvin Bowman with a B-. Jesse says SmackDown gets a B+. Jorge with a B+. Michael Wayne with a B+. Matt Helms with a B. Tic Tat Tat with a B+. Josh Mansfield with an A. Mike B with a B+. Cleaver Colin Andrew with a C+. Curtis Butler with a B+. And SN1281 with a D. So overall, it looks like some positive reviews for SmackDown. Greg gives it an A+. Greg Mayer says, just because of Mandy in the pool, haha. Stephen Osborne gives it a B as well. I'm going to give it a B+. This was probably the most entertaining SmackDown for me in quite some time. Maybe since the pandemic even started. It was up there. As far as just a show that went by very quickly. And I enjoyed the other stuff on the show too. The Battle Royal was fun. The stuff with Mandy Rose and Otis was entertaining. I like what they're doing with Sonya Deville, building him up. They got a feud with AC Evans. So good stuff. Good stuff from SmackDown this week. A little bit of controversy with the Jeff Hardy thing, but hey, there is a saying, controversy creates cash. We'll see. We'll see if it turns people off or not. I did do a poll on No DQ's Twitter account, and I asked, do you like the storyline with Jeff Hardy? And more people put no than yes, but maybe after seeing the end of SmackDown, people will accept the angle more. We'll see. Ken Terminated by Google with a $5 super chat says, was Dominic Dijakovic on SmackDown? I heard he was on the show. By the way, gives Psycho Jet Black a standing ovation for making Rift laugh his ass off. No Dijakovic, but he's another guy that is being rumored to be called up to the main roster. I could see him going to Raw with Matt Riddle going to SmackDown. I mean, that would make sense. You don't want to throw all the call-ups on SmackDown. And SmackDown's got some momentum now with Matt Riddle coming in. Got some people interested in seeing what happens. I think Raw could benefit more from Dijakovic than SmackDown. Although Dijakovic versus Strowman would be an interesting match. Although Dijakovic versus McIntyre would also be an interesting match. So that's all I got for SmackDown, guys. Again, tune in to No DQ&A video tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And then Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific. Monday, Raw recap. Tuesday, NXT TakeOver. AEW NXT on Wednesday. No DQ review on Thursday. SmackDown again on Friday. No DQ&A video that next Saturday. And then the next Sunday will be the TakeOver recap. Content every day on the channel. You guys can help me out by spreading the word. Tell a friend. Curtis Butler, tell your friend. Noah Foster, tell your friend, somebody who isn't already watching, because I know a lot of your friends are already watching. Ken, tell a friend. Mike B, you're cool. You sent enough super chat money, I'll give you a pass. But everybody else, send a friend to this channel. Tell a friend, a stranger. Go on Twitter. Go find a random person who's a wrestling fan on Twitter and say, hey, check out Aaron Rift on YouTube. He knows his shit. So that will help me out. Random person. That's everybody's mission. That is what you can do as part of the No DQ street team. Go find a random person and harass them. Tell them to watch No DQ&A video or else. And on that note, I will see you guys next time. Take care, stay safe, and stay positive.